groups all the time, and as a teacher, you kind of feed off of that. So I'm glad that we got some graduates and some parents, because otherwise it'd be kind of weird to be here. The other thing that's kind of interesting is I'm the last person to talk in this virtual graduation. So I'm betting there's at least maybe 6 people, Ryan, on the feed by now. Maybe one dad forced to wear a tie. Give me 5 minutes, Dad. Just about 5 minutes and I can get you out of here. The other thing too is, with COVID, we don't really know what everybody's going to say. So as we went through all these speeches, I'm kind of like, well, I guess I'll get rid of this section and this section. Won't be talking about COVID so much. So maybe I'll just get to the stuff that I meant to talk about here. So the class of 2020 and teenagers in general are often the butt of jokes in society. The generation known as snowflakes to some of our boomers even came up with a hashtag to fight back. Okay? When I'm asked by adults what it's like to work with these types of kids, I simply respond by explaining what I know to be true. Let me tell you what I've experienced personally with members of the class of 2020 and how I'll remember them. When they were sophomores, I witnessed, way back in sophomore year, seniors Evan Frankman and Sawyer Smith put on an impromptu performance in front of a crowd of hundreds of children on a stone-filled playground in a rural village in Tanzania. Later that day, we continued finishing a school that we were building with shoddy tools and questionable materials. Trust me, very questionable. There were 0 complaints. Last summer, I stood shoulder to shoulder with seniors Ben Nelson, Justin Kopka, Fuzzy Merrick, and several others as we were asked to hand-till a portion of the jungle near Chiang Mai, Thailand. It was 100 degrees, very similar to this room. There again was 0 complaining. Last fall, I stood out on our track, 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, actually, by the time we got done, about 7:20. And I watched as seniors Grace Berglund, Elise Whitmore, Maddie Walsh, Olivia Wardle, and several others competed a workout that I had created. Keeping in mind, I'm not actually even their coach. I was just the guy on duty that day. It started to downpour in the middle of it. They finished the workout, they went straight to class, and never said a word. This winter and fall, I traveled with JSA to our state capital, to Washington, D.C., and I watched senior leaders like Megan Lynn organize and debate politics better and at a much higher level than pretty much any adult I know. I've personally seen my classroom filled with 30 to 40 kids long before the sun is ready to rise on a test day to review, with most of them already having A's or B's in my class. Since COVID hit, I've seen one of my athletes, Brady Phillips, break the school record in the discus several times, a 25-year-old record, knowing that he may never get a chance to do it. I've seen my next-door neighbor, Kylie Huckey, somewhere over there would be Kylie, with a smile on her face every single day. She's not going to get a chance to defend their state championship in lacrosse. I saw Nyla Brunbauer, Morgan Conway, Sydney Nelson turn their bedrooms and basements into sound stages to become state place finishers in forensics. So this year is the year of the virtual commencement speech. I'm up against the likes of former President Obama, Oprah, The Rock, Tom Hanks, and some lady named Cardi B. All of them are very inspirational, and they come from extremely accomplished people. They talk about things like, you're going to be the generation that saves the world. You'll be the next Bill Gates, maybe, or maybe the next president of the United States is sitting, well, maybe watching on a computer screen somewhere at home. And that's all well and good, but that's probably not going to be the story for most of us, the vast majority of us. So if I were to give you guys any advice, I would keep it pretty simple. And that would be, whatever it is you want to accomplish after you leave this place is going to come with a price. Nothing just happens. You're going to have to work for it. And if you doubt that, you can ask any of the hardworking members in this community. You can go down and ask Pat Fox over at Piggly Wiggly. You can go right next door and ask Mike Cush at Heartland Service. Or you could ask any of those people swinging a hammer in those new developments that are finally going up. It will take hard work, whatever you choose. So as some of you guys may know, that besides just being a coach and a social studies teacher, which by the way are kind of big jobs, and a parent, I'm also a part-time landscape photographer. And every now and then people ask me, like, how did you get good at taking pictures? And I answer very simply that one day I decided I'm going to be good at taking pictures. And what that meant is I then went out and I read hundreds of articles. I went over dozens and dozens of tutorials. I went to conferences and I started to find professionals all over the place and bugged the heck out of them. After After that, I sold things that I had that were valuable so I could buy equipment. And then I got up at 4 a.m. for about 2 years, 3 years straight, and took tens of thousands of pictures. 5 years later, over 100,000, well, hundreds of thousands of people have seen my images online. I make a yearly calendar that sells out every single year. I've got prints hanging in local hospitals, houses, and even homes all around the world. My point is, not that you should become a landscape photographer. I don't need the competition. And you're not going to make a lot of money doing that, trust me. But the point is, if you can find out whatever it is that you want to do, and if you work for it, and you really put in the effort, you can accomplish that, even if it is being a YouTuber, an Instagrammer, or whatever. So class of 2020, you've inspired us all with your ability to remain positive and to make so many sacrifices during our current pandemic. You've displayed to me over and over again a work ethic that could match that of any generation. You either possess the skills or have the ability to learn the skills that you will need once you walk off this stage, when you guys at home actually get there, once you walk off them. With that being said, I'll conclude with a line from the Abbott's Brothers song, Head Full of Doubt, Road Full of Promise, that perfectly encapsulates what you need to do from here. Decide what to be and go be it.